Just a few reminders. Please wear your face covering at all times. Face coverings must fully cover your nose and mouth. Thank you for visiting us today. Just a few reminders. Please wear your face covering at all times. Face coverings must fully cover your nose and mouth. Please clean your hands often and thoroughly. Thank you. Gracias por su visita el día de hoy. Solamente para recordarles, por favor, use su cubreboca en todo momento. Su cubreboca debe cubrir completamente la nariz y la boca. Lávese las manos frecuentemente. Gracias. you for visiting us today. Just a few reminders. Please wear your face covering at all times. Face coverings must fully cover your nose and mouth. Please clean your hands often and thoroughly. Thank you. Gracias por su visita el día de hoy. Solamente para recordarles, por favor use su cubreboca en todo momento. Su cubreboca debe cubrir completamente la nariz y la boca. Lávese las manos frecuentemente. Gracias.
So it's not on the teleprompter, this right here, so is that okay? So I just read it instead of just looking it on the...
You're good to go.
Yeah, well, do I have my Spanish one? Buenas tardes. Soy la doctora Ana Ochoa O'Leary, profesora y directora del Departamento de Estudios Mexicoamericanos. Bienvenidos a la ceremonia de graduación del otoño 2021, que celebra la graduación del Colegio de Ciencias Sociales y de Comportamiento. Nos da mucho gusto de ver tantas personas que nos acompañan esta tarde, presencialmente, tanto como los que están acompañándonos virtualmente desde diferentes partes de Arizona y del mundo. Desde aquí y desde allá, somos una familia de gatos, celebrando unidos esta noche, esta gran ocasión. Una cálida bienvenido a todos y todos. Good afternoon. I am Ana Ochoa O'Leary, professor and head of the Department of Mexican American Studies. Welcome to the Fall 2021 Convocation Ceremony celebrating the graduates of the College of Social and Behavioral Sciences. We are excited to see such a packed house this afternoon, and to all of our Wildcat families graduating here today, watching from different parts of Arizona and throughout the world, thank you for joining our celebration. As we begin, let us take a moment to acknowledge that the University of Arizona is on the land and territories of indigenous peoples. Today, Arizona is home to 22 federally recognized tribes, with Tucson being home to the Otham and the Yaqui. Committed to diversity and inclusion, the university thrives to build sustainable relationships with sovereign Native nations and indigenous communities through education, offerings, partnerships, and community service. It is now my honor to welcome our processional, which is being led by the Dean of the College, Dr. John Paul Jones III. Following Dr. Jones is today's guest speaker, David Hume Kennerly, an Associate Dean for Academic Affairs and Student Success, Dr. Amy Kimihea. They are followed by our convocation platform, which includes our esteemed visitors. From the Universidad Peruana de Ciencias Aplicadas, Rector Dr. Edward Brockhart, and Dean for Communications, Dr. Ursula Freunt Thurn. From the University of Arizona's College of Architecture, Planning and Landscape Architecture, College Dean, Dr. Nancy Pollock Elwand. Following are our representatives, faculty, readers, and from SBS academic units. Department of Communications, Dr. Chris Seagren. Department of American Indian Studies, Dr. Matthew Sakistiwa Gilbert. School of Anthropology, Dr. Diane Austin. Department of English, Dr. Cristina Ramirez. School of Geography, Development and Environment, Dr. Andrew Comrie. Department of Gender and Women's Studies, Dr. Stephanie Troutman Robbins. School of Government and Public Policy, Dr. Krissa Rickman. Department of History, Dr. Allison Fertrell. School of Information, Dr. Richard Thompson. School of Journalism, Professor Carol Schwalbe. Arizona Center for Judaic Studies, Dr. David Graysberg. Center for Latin American Studies, Assistant Director Colin Deeds. Department of Linguistics, Dr. Heidi Harley. School of Middle Eastern and North African Studies, Dr. Ben Fortna. Department of Political Economy and Moral Science, Dr. Peter Vanderschaaf. Department of Philosophy, Dr. Jason Turner. School of Sociology, Dr. Carrie Langley and Dr. Louise Roth. Program in Global Studies, with us here virtually is Dr. Maritza Cardenas, and Program for Human Rights and Practice, here with us virtually is Dr. William Simmons. Welcome, everybody. As a final reminder, please remember to silence your cell phones. Please keep your mask on, and for the benefit of all graduates and guests, please refrain from leaving your seats to take pictures during the ceremony. Thank you. I would like now to introduce Dr. John Paul Jones III, the Don Bennett Moon Dean of the College of SBS. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. O'Leary. Well, here we are. To all the family, friends, and supporters, on behalf of the College of Social and Behavioral Sciences, it gives me great pleasure to present to you our Fall 2021 graduating class. And to the assembled graduates, I invite you to give a big, loud, roof-raising round of applause to your supporters who have made this accomplishment possible. So, what does it mean to be a graduate of the University of Arizona? It means that you have earned your degree from one of the top 25 public research institutions in this country. That's based on the over $700 million of research income brought to this state by UA faculty each year. This research prominence has earned us membership in the Association of American Universities, or the AAU. It's a select group of public and private institutions that includes universities like Berkeley, Columbia, MIT, Princeton, and Yale. Did I forget to mention that the University of Arizona is the only member institution from Arizona in the AAU? I always love that line. And why do we have such a high rank and stellar reputation? It's due in part to the dedication and hard work of the over 500 faculty in the College of Social and Behavioral Sciences, who are led by the department heads and directors behind me today. Thank you to our amazing faculty and to their leaders. So, graduates, congratulations on making it to this day. If you think back on your very first class at the U of A, it's probably a safe bet that not one of you predicted that your Wildcat journey would turn out to be quite so stressful. From the pandemic to political divisiveness to the struggles for racial and economic justice, we are living through one of the most momentous periods in this nation's history, and our beloved institution swims in this larger stream. Much has been asked of you, and yet, by determination and persistence, here you are. Not only did you meet the demands of college life, the deadlines, the projects, the exams. These past couple of years, many of you also took care of family members, found additional work outside of the classroom, engaged in civil protest, dealt with the constant stress of protecting yourself and those around you. In the face of unrelenting challenges and uncertainties, you responded with extraordinary resilience. I want you to know that we are confident in your preparation to meet this world head-on. In my view, and I'm a little biased, SBS graduates are not only spirited, they are also what this nation and world desperately need right now. You are a class of graduates who will leave this institution with a deep understanding of the roots of and solutions to racial and ethnic injustice and inequality. You are prepared to contribute to an economy of opportunity, adaptability, and inclusive participation. From high government offices to school boards and local neighborhood organizations, it is my hope that you will work to build trust in our public institutions by practicing the ideals of a pluralistic democracy. The worldliness and diversity that you have experienced at U of A can help you confront xenophobia at home and turn an outward hand to the rest of the world in a spirit of cooperation and dialogue. You will join forces to address the world's environmental crises, reducing our waste, cleaning our air, water, and soil, and preserving our precious biodiversity. You leave us ready and able to build safe and caring communities, not only through the knowledge you've acquired, but also through the skills you've gained. The ability to integrate conceptual reflection with empirical evidence, the discipline needed to apply explanatory reasoning based on the scientific method, as well as the sensibility entailed in cultivating empathetic understanding through skills of interpretation. The insight to solve problems large and small through design thinking, experimentation, and innovation, and the ability to read closely, write precisely, and communicate clearly. So yeah, parents, they're good to go. And graduates, as you embark on new journeys, I hope that everything you've learned in SBS gives you the self-confidence you'll need to lead. And as you lead, I encourage you to do so effectively and passionately, but also thoughtfully and kindly. Talk across lines of difference. Be respectful and civil to one another, and value the different opinions, life trajectories, cultures, belief systems, and languages of others that you will meet. After all, you are graduates of the University of Arizona's People College. Thank you, and congratulations to each of you. And now it is my great pleasure, really my honor, to introduce this afternoon's convocation speaker, David Hume Kennerly. David has been a photographer on the front lines of history for 60 years. At 25, he was one of the youngest winners of the Pulitzer Prize in Journalism. His award for feature photography included images of the Vietnam and Cambodia wars, refugees escaping from East Pakistan into India, and Muhammad Ali's and Joe Frazier's fight of the century in Madison Square Garden. As you will hear, upon President Richard Nixon's resignation from the White House in 1974, incoming President Gerald R. Ford asked David to be his personal photographer. That gave him a front row seat to a political stage that featured a nation recovering from Watergate and the unraveling of the Vietnam War, which David photographed all the way to the end. And he has never slowed down. David's photos have appeared in more than 50 magazine covers, and he has documented history in over 100 countries. He's photographed 11 US presidents, covered 13 presidential campaigns, served as a contributing editor for Newsweek, Time, and Life magazines, authored several books, including Sign Off, The Final Days of Seinfeld, and served as a writer and producer of documentaries for CBS, NBC, Showtime, and the Discovery Channel. In 2019, David honored us by moving his enormous David Hume Kennerly archive, a collection of nearly 1 million images, prints, objects, and memorabilia spanning its entire career, to the Center for Creative Photography at the University of Arizona. There, his work has joined the collections of Ansel Adams, Edward Weston, Richard Avedon, W. Gene Smith, and other legendary photographers. In recognition of David's selection of the center to be the place where his work would live forever, the University of Arizona President Robert C. Robbins appointed him as the university's first presidential scholar. We're honored to have him share some words with us this afternoon. David?
I don't think there's anything left to say, JP. What an amazing group. Hi, everybody. Congratulations to the graduating class of 2021. You've survived and triumphed over our ongoing COVID nightmare. And from the looks of it, you not only emerged intact, but are raring to go to the next step. I wouldn't be standing here today if it wasn't for University of Arizona President Dr. Robert Robbins, the driving force behind the university's acquisition of my archive for the Center for Creative Photography, the CCP. I'm assuming that also makes me an official wildcat, but I don't want to be presumptuous. I'll take that as a yes. That's what your most excellent leader, Dean John Paul Jones, has become a dear friend and invited me to speak here today. Depending on how this goes, you may or may not want to thank him. It's a real pleasure to speak to you. I've had my fair share of significant moments, but none of them include a college graduation, so each of you has already surpassed my academic achievements. My dear friend Ansel Adams was co-founder of the CCP, and as Dean Jones said, that archive is right here on the campus. I was privileged to take his portrait for the cover of Time. He's the first and only photographer to be featured there. Ansel was also a philosopher. He said, you don't make a photograph just with a camera, you bring to the act of photography all the pictures you've seen, the books you've read, the music you've heard, and the people you've loved. I thought I would share this with you because Ansel's words applied not only to photography, but to life. After graduating from high school in 1965, the world was changing in ways I couldn't imagine. I felt compelled to tell my generation's story with my weapon of choice, a 35mm camera. That desire to document turned into a lifelong journey that has so far produced hundreds of thousands of photographs. I've taken pictures of 11 presidents, and there are 5 of them, presumably, behind me, traveled to more than 100 countries, been in several wars, saw the horror of Jonestown, and have produced movies and documentaries. I'd like to pass along some wisdom from my dad, O.A. Tooney Kennerly, who was a traveling salesman. During his life, he sold everything from plastic garden tools to automobiles. As a youngster, I accompanied him around my home state of Oregon. Any Oregonians here? That's great. We need more down here. I watched him sell people things they didn't really need, or at least didn't know they needed. One bit of advice he shared with me was, if you want to get along with people, don't discuss politics or religion. That advice might be more pertinent now than ever. Observing Dad in action helped me understand his real secret. He was selling himself first. He put people at ease, made them laugh. He was a genuine individual who liked his fellow humans, and they liked him back. And they bought his stuff. His example helped me get behind closed doors with my camera. I became very good at selling politicians and others on the idea of letting me into their lives to document their important work and to photograph them in genuine moments. One of my earliest assignments as a 19-year-old Cub newspaper photographer was covering Senator Robert Kennedy's visit to Portland. I set off on that mission with words from my managing editor ringing in my ears, "Don't screw it up, kid." I arrived at the Portland Labor Hall where he was about to speak. It was so crowded that I couldn't get in, but I had to or possibly lose my job. I spotted a photographer who was traveling with Kennedy, and I asked him, "How do you get through all these people?" He was Bill Epridge of Life magazine, one of the world's best photographers. Sensing my panic, he said, "Grab onto my coat." He zigzagged through the crowd and deposited me right up on the stage. And on top of that, he said, "This is the best angle." It was a career saver. This image that I made of Kennedy is still one of my most meaningful photographs. Afterwards, I followed the senator and his entourage out to the airport. RFK plunged into the cheering crowd, then he dashed up the airplane steps. But that's not what rang my bell. The moment, the one that's so clear to me even now, was when Bill Epridge followed Kennedy, stood on the top of the plane stairs, spotted me down in the crowd, gave me a wink and a smile, then turned and disappeared inside the plane. The door closed behind him and the aircraft taxied out and took off into the night. I was overwhelmed with emotion. Why? I wanted to be on that plane, to go where history was being made and to photograph the people making it. My path was clear. I would run away and join the political circus. First full circle note, I was right here on this campus with Kennedy in 1968 when he made a campaign stop. And he went to here and to Window Rock, Arizona, and met with Navajos. So we're all here because someone pointed us in the right direction. Somebody cleared away obstacles or let us hang onto their coat. You haven't had to walk alone. With luck, you'll run into compassionate and inspiring people like Bill Epridge, who will bless you with their drive, expertise, and most of all, kindness. A few months before Bill died, I was able to thank him for helping me find my way. It's hard to express how important that was for me. So as I was coming through the ranks of photographers, I had no idea what decades of my pictures might reveal. I never thought I would make it this far, and there were so many times when I almost didn't. Overcoming fear to do my job was essential, but trust me, it didn't make me less scared on occasion. Getting the shot, telling the story is what drives me. An example is a picture that I took in Vietnam of a lone soldier carefully picking his way across a devastated hillside. I saw him coming from across the way and moved to a position where I could frame him through some shattered trees if he stayed on his path. I prayed he would hold that course, and he did. That photo became the centerpiece of my Pulitzer Prize winning portfolio of photographs that I took in 1971. So be patient, wait for it. Think ahead, and most important, don't give up. You never know what might come next. Another Toonie Kennerly saying was, "If you don't ask, you don't get." I'm sure that wasn't just his saying, but I started listening after I got too old. Now I'm able to tell you about it. So people can't read your mind. They don't know what you want. It's a tough choice because you might rightfully believe that an opportunity could disappear if you push too hard for it. So what? Take a chance. Even if the person you're talking to is the President of the United States. I was on the south lawn of the White House as Richard Nixon departed in disgrace after resigning the presidency. He was the first and last president to do that. 2 hours later, Gerald Ford was sworn in as the nation's 38th president. I had covered him for Time magazine while he was the vice president, and then watched him go right into presidential history. I got along well with the vice president. He liked me and my pictures. I also suspected he might ask me to become his chief photographer, but I wasn't sure that I wanted the job. Nixon's photographer's legacy was a rough road. He had extremely limited access to his boss, and his photographs showed it. History was not well served, and even though it wasn't his fault, he missed critical moments. There are few photos that show Nixon's handling of the Vietnam War and the Watergate cover-up that brought him down. I couldn't and would not work under those restrictive conditions. That night, President Ford and I sat in his living room in Alexandria, Virginia. He didn't move into the White House for 10 days after becoming president, and he popped the question, would I like to be his personal photographer? I told him I had misgivings and why. Then I looked him right in the eye and said, Mr. President, I would love to take the job. It would be an honor, but I have two conditions. I report directly to you, and I have total access to everything going on in the White House. You know, what the heck? And to this day, I still can't believe those words came out of my mouth. President Ford appeared slightly flummoxed. He stopped smoking his pipe, and I thought, okay, I blew that one. Then he laughed and said, you don't want Air Force One on the weekends? Hallelujah, I hadn't blown it. I didn't have to call my parents and tell them that the president offered me a job, but I told him to shove it. Ford understood that my wanting to always be in the room came from my desire to document his presidency from all angles, to create a visual record for history, and that I didn't want to miss anything. The Ford presidency was one of my most rewarding and exciting assignments. I faithfully, objectively, and I hope accurately, documented every moment of history that I could, and history happened 24/7 for the next 2.5 years. And yes, I spent hundreds of hours on Air Force One, but only when the president was on board. Documenting history since the 60s has given me a unique perspective of our proud and imperfect nation. We're a place of heroes, villains, and those in between. But I remain an optimist. No matter how powerful the lens, one person can't capture it all. I believe my life's work can inspire confidence in our ability to improve as a people. It can also be a sobering reminder of how often we screw things up. With luck, my pictures will motivate a new and diverse generation, you, to be passionate chroniclers and not impartial observers, unless you're a journalist, of course, of our collective experience. You can all participate in this idea, whether you're receiving degrees in American Indian Studies, anthropology, geography, history, law, or any other field. You could document your own point of view. There are social media vehicles to do that, but more important, keep notes about your work and your unique perspective of the world around you. You're seeing history every single day, so don't let it slip away. And by all means, supplement those observations with photos. The best line in any graduation speech, and in conclusion, here it is. A long list of people helped and trusted me along the way. The same goes for you. Look around. You'll see family, friends, professors, employers. Thank them for helping you to become the person you are and for shaping the person you will become. We're all in this together. We're not flying solo. Good luck and love to the 2021 graduates of the People College of the University of Arizona. You now have the Wildcat wind at your back and an incredible journey ahead. I'm leaving you with one of my favorite pictures. I took this on assignment for Bank of America, who sponsored the event. It even went viral. This is First Lady Michelle Obama hugging former President George W. Bush. Thank you. Mrs. Obama is hugging former President George W. Bush, who, by the way, signed the act, the bill, creating the National Museum of African American History and Culture. But this picture personifies an optimistic note on how we can get along, no matter what gender, color, or political party. I hope it sums up how you feel today. And by the way, I love the University of Arizona's motto, bear down. Thank you. And now, for my last act here, I'm going to take a selfie with all of you in the background. I'm not a big selfie guy, but boy, I sure feel good about this one. Hold on now. Let's see. Everybody wave. Thank you very much.
Thank you, David. That'll be on many social media platforms later on this evening. Kennerly's Instagram. It's now my great pleasure, it's a great speech. It's now my great pleasure to introduce the Associate Dean for Academic Affairs and Student Success, Dr. Amy Kimmy-Hay, to announce some student awards. Amy?
It's okay. I bring my own road crew to the show. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm so pleased to be here with you. I know it's been hopefully full of joy, but also some tribulation, but you've made it. So I get to recognize some of our outstanding seniors, but before I do so, I would like to acknowledge that a sizable number of today's graduates are here through the college's many avenues of access beyond the main campus. These students who completed their degrees from University of Arizona Online and for the first time through UA's microcampus at la Universidad Peruana de Ciencias Aplicadas in Lima, Peru. Yeah. Led by Dr. Edward Rocart and accompanied by our dear faculty member, Dr. Ursula Freunt Verney. I also want to acknowledge that Dr. Nancy Pollock-Elwan from CAPLA is here today honoring her daughter who's graduating from SBS in Criminal Justice Studies. And might I say, what a good choice. And now I have the distinct privilege of recognizing honors and outstanding seniors in the college. I'd ask at this time that all honors students rise to your feet. Yay. These students are donning gold honors cords and have earned GPAs of 3.5, and many have been part of the Honors College, completing honors coursework and either a capstone or a thesis project. I'm also going to ask for another illustrious group to stand. This group are the SBS ambassadors who are graduating today. Will you please stand? This highly selective group of students who are wearing blue and red braided honors cords demonstrate outstanding leadership and qualities and passion for SBS. They recruit new students to the college, they assist with community outreach, and they advocate for our social science and humanities departments. A big thank you to them. In addition to these honorees, each convocation, faculty nominates students to receive Outstanding Senior Awards. It is my pleasure to name these winners, asking each student to stand as they hear their name. I'm going to begin now. For demonstrating exemplary leadership skills and making a positive impact on the lives of others, we honor Megan Gutierrez from the School of Geography, Development, and Environment. Megan has earned the award of the SBS Excellence in Leadership and Community Engagement. For the next award, in recognition of overcoming substantial obstacles to earn their degree, is Diego Lopez. Diego is from the Department of History, and he wins the SBS Tenacity Award. I'd also like to honor Ray J. Yao from the School of Anthropology. Who has won the SBS Undergraduate Research Award, which honors academic achievement, originality, and creativity in an independent undergraduate research project. The SBS Student Success Award recognizes the academic achievement of a first-generation college student. This semester's winner is Rebecca Soto. Who is also from the School of Geography, Development, and Environment. Finally, I'm pleased to announce Jason O'Day from the School of Sociology as the winner of the SBS Outstanding Senior Award. This award is given to an exceptional all-around student with a record of outstanding academic achievement, a history of active citizenship and community contribution, and a demonstrated capacity for leadership. Jason is not able to be with us today, but as is customary for the outstanding senior to address his fellow graduates, I'm honored to share a few of his words on his behalf. So in Jason's words, first, I would like to thank everyone that had anything to do with me receiving this award. I dreamed of attending the University of Arizona, and the experience was everything I imagined it would be and more. I can't say enough positive things about all the staff members and students at Arizona. I'm completely humbled by their kind words and generosity that led to winning this award. It's my opportunity to give back to all the amazing people at the University of Arizona that spoke up for me, helped me, and supported me. I would never have been able to win this award without their consistent support. Jason goes on to tell us that I chose to serve my country as a United States Marine. Hoorah! He doesn't say this, but I'm getting a little emotional. My husband is a former Marine. So he decided to serve because of his grandfather, John O'Day Sr., who was a Tucson resident and a huge U of A fan and supporter. He was in Vietnam and passed away when he was young. Jason learned firsthand how devastating war can be from all sides and spent many hours visiting orphanages in Afghanistan. It's hard to read other people's words for me. Watching those kids smile through their tears was a moving experience for me. I promised myself I would never go to take what I had for granted from that day forward. I was going to dedicate my life to helping those in need. I came across a quote from Will Smith that I say to myself daily. And he quotes, "If you're not making someone else's life better, then you're wasting your time. Your life will become better by making others' lives better." Unquote. He says, "I believe we can change the world through our kindness to others. Make it your life's work to make a difference in someone's life each day." He's ending with, "To anyone who has served in the U.S. military, thank you so much for your service. To all my Marine brothers and sisters, Semper Fi. And to all new Wildcats, bear down." And to Jason, thank you for allowing me to speak your words.
That's okay. Okay. Thank you, Amy. Okay, it's time to get this party started. I'm now pleased to recognize the two faculty readers for this afternoon's ceremony. The first you've met, Dr. Ana Ochoa O'Leary, professor and head of the Department of Mexican American Studies. And our second reader is Dr. Louise Roth, professor of sociology. As the graduates' names are being called, you will see photos and quotes that the students picked to share with you as part of this convocation experience. Graduates, please maintain your masks when you come across the stage. Let's go.
Jason O'Day, outstanding senior.
Leslie Becker, School of Geography, Development, and Environment.
Andrea Beltran Juarez, Political Economy and Moral Science.
Hayden Bullado, School of Government and Public Policy.
Keely Fox, Sociology.
Emma Fritton, Sociology.
Quinn Harrison, English.
Daniel Johnston, School of Geography, Development, and Environment.
Andrew Wallace, Linguistics.
Emerson Carmen Mary Lampert Mayorga, Gender and Women's Studies.
Andrew Short, School of Government and Public Policy.
Cullen Drenkon, Communication.
Sedent Bardwaj, School of Information.
Nicholas Tarquin, School of Government and Public Policy.
Kyle Wells, Communication.
Robert Pegues, School of Government and Public Policy.
Samantha Lopez, Sociology.
Jonathan Mueller, sociology.
Megan Copeland, sociology.
Brett Tridee, School of Geography, Development, and Environment.
Elizabeth Prudy, communication.
Aaron Johnson, School of Government and Public Policy.
Corina Valdez, sociology.
Victoria Peña, sociology.
Okan Q. Hart, information, science, and e-society.
Emily Granado, sociology.
Emily Kelly, geography.
George Lee.
Cassandra Gonzalez, sociology.
Jack McLean.
Matthew Federico, communication.
Kayla Flores, English.
Camden Karsten, School of Anthropology. Here with us virtually is Hans Laschi, history.
John Paul Manchego Labato, political economy and moral science.
Fernando Peraldo Alegre, political economy and moral science.
Rose Sarkeesian, School of Government and Public Policy.
Sam Shearer, Judaic Studies.
Samantha Stashin, School of Anthropology.
Chi Chang Shu from School of Information.
Brandon Lee, Geography.
Albert Tapia Landy, School of Government and Public Policy.
Ryan Josenreno Gonzalez, College of SBS.
Alexis Klein, Communication.
Katie Ferencik, School of Information.
Grace Kennedy, English.
Nicole Feltman, Journalism.
Amanda Squire, Journalism.
Cameron Supala, School of Geography, Development, and Environment.
Michaela Curcio, School of Information.
Alexander Lim, School of Geography, Development, and Environment.
Angel Cortes,
Rhiannon Barbea.
Christopher Phillips,
J. Arturo Ledesma Peña, School of Government and Public Policy.
Gabriela Garcia Silvas, School of Government and Public Policy.
Tiger Lee.
Hannah McGee, Sociology.
Jennifer Alfaro.
Jaylene Cooper.
Lorraine LaRue, School of Anthropology.
Erika Lopez, History.
Joseph Bazila, Geography.
Andrew Kostencik, Journalism.
Leonardo Echeverria, School of Information.
Go ahead. Micaela Horges, School of Information.
Josh Saavedra, Communication.
Jackson Woodcock, Communication.
Emma Armstrong, Communication.
Grayson Gabbard.
William Fusillo, School of Information.
Ulises Gomez, School of Information.
Alyssa Castillo, English.
Adelina Thomas, American Indian Studies.
Stephen Carson, Political Economy and Moral Science.
Sarah Nichols, Linguistics.
Caitlin Tomerlin, Gender and Women's Studies.
Rocco Pensar, School of Anthropology.
Jane Lihu, Creative Writing.
Emily Jane Greenhall Chrysanthus, English.
Kiri Brooks, School of Anthropology.
Gabriel Villa Morales.
Ryan Suarez, Judaic Studies.
Here with us virtually is Alisa Lara, Gender and Women's Studies.
Kevin Luxon, Sociology.
Alana McIlrath, School in Government and Public Policy.
John Moody, School of Government and Public Policy.
Natalia Turpilovskaya, School of Government and Public Policy.
Carlos Perez, School of Government and Public Policy.
Nikki Campbell, School of Geography, Development, and Environment.
Harrison Kent Hoffman Redmond, School of Government and Public Policy.
Dominic Dale, English.
Janray Lynn Akathi, Sociology.
Andrea Ramos, Communication.
Ray Rodriguez, Criminal Justice Studies.
Ollie's Sowid, School of Geography, Development, and Environment.
Maxwell Lore, Journalism.
Reiji Yao, School of Anthropology.
Grace Perillo, Public Management and Policy.
Mackenzie Mesa, Communication.
Imelda Verdugo, School of Government and Public Policy.
Catherine Anastopoulos, School of Geography, Development, and Environment.
Fiona Harrigan, School of Government and Public Policy.
James Fisher, School of Government and Public Policy.
Stephanie Gareke, School of Government and Public Policy.
Sergio Alejandro Porres, School of Government and Public Policy.
Jackson Pyatt, Public Management and Policy.
Star Kabish, School of Geography, Development, and Environment.
Severin Quijada.
Grace Hayes, School of Government and Public Policy.
Christopher G., School of Government and Public Policy.
Adam Portner, Geography.
Diego Lopez, History.
Tanner Bowles, School of Government and Public Policy.
Garrett Perry, Communication.
Lauren Hesse, School of Geography, Development, and Environment.
Laura Kunk, Linguistics.
Anna Dibiek, School of Government and Public Policy.
Evelyn Brzezinski, Linguistics.
Maria Pablo, School of Government and Public Policy.
Jorge Gonzalez, School of Government and Public Policy.
Arlie Valencia, School of Government and Public Policy.
Miles Huntsman, Communication.
Avery Kalowski, Journalism.
Sylvia Culpepper, School of Anthropology.
Ana Valeria Rebasa Anton, Political Economy and Moral Science.
Grace Elena Torres Yarleque, School of Government and Public Policy.
Luke Martin.
Jaden Garcia.
Paige O'Rourke, School of Government and Public Policy.
Madeline Howard, Communication.
Emily Cunning, School of Government and Public Policy.
Grace Vilwak, School of Anthropology.
Megan Gutierrez, Public Economy and Moral Science.
Phoenix Duke, Communication.
Bronson Gold, American Indian Studies.
Kendra Casey.
Daniel Kreider.
Dominic Reese Gear, School of Government and Public Policy.
Faith Hasher, School of Government and Public Policy.
Nicholas Malmgren, School of Geography, Development, and Environment.
Bailey Dempsey, English.
Sydney Michelle Debony, School of Information.
Itzel Jacqueline Aguilar, Journalism.
Maria Fernanda Giespe Cruces, Communication.
Maria Chiarella, Communication.
Claudia Huerta Villar, Communication.
Tatum Lovelace, Communication.
Shelby Smith, Communication.
Johanna Celeste Ramirez, School of Information.
Angelique Leon, Communication.
Elsa Sanchez, Information, Science, and Arts.
Hamza Furman, School of Information.
McKenna Healy, Communication.
Jordan Draft, Communication.
Scott Lynn Kramer, School of Government and Public Policy.
Kai Sweeney, School of Anthropology.
Janet Gonzalez, Linguistics.
Sarah Schneider, Judaic Studies.
Gabriela Kobian, journalism.
Tanner Guski, School of Anthropology.
Abraham Eid, sociology.
Joining us virtually, we'd like to acknowledge Michael Aguilar from Communication.
Justin Bailey, communication.
Veronica Burgess.
Michael Bird, School of Government and Public Policy.
Ashlyn Floyd, School of Government and Public Policy.
Vanessa Lara, philosophy.
Christopher Erickson, Communication.
Cameron Traylor, English.
Yazan Georgette Johnson, Linguistics.
Dana Brouillard, School of Government and Public Policy.
Sarah Brouillard, Linguistics.
Tuba Ahmad, School of Government and Public Policy.
Javier Gonzalez, Communication.
Verenzith Wong, School of Government and Public Policy.
Riley Spittler, School of Government and Public Policy.
Alexis Yessian, School of Information.
Alexandra Jevere Regis, Communication.
Cameron Garcia, School of Government and Public Policy.
Raquel Lespron, Communication.
Elvia Verdugo, journalism.
Amaris Encinas, journalism.
Joshua Gray, communication.
Jesus Garcia, sociology.
Denise Salazar, English.
John Nelson, School of Government and Public Policy.
Naomi Patton, history.
Christopher Gallegos, communication.
Griffin Ogg, School of Government and Public Policy.
Joseph Files, School of Government and Public Policy.
Lauren Borelli, School of Government and Public Policy.
Kennedy Cooper, School of Information.
Parker Shiley, School of Government and Public Policy.
Brittany Mares, School of Information.
Sarah Leva, School of Government and Public Policy.
Lisbeth Borges, School of Government and Public Policy.
Amy Gomez Sanchez, School of Geography, Development, and Environment.
Monit Shukla, School of Government and Public Policy.
Dylan Hess, Linguistics.
Chanel Lennox, School of Government and Public Policy.
Victoria Bleemer, History.
Carson Young.
Kelly Montgomery, School of Government and Public Policy.
Wyatt Scott, School of Information.
Nathaniel Summers, School of Government and Public Policy.
Anastasia Haley, Gender and Women's Studies.
Jeffrey Fitzgibbon, School of Government and Public Policy.
Anna Elwand, School of Government and Public Policy.
Maria Lopez, School of Government and Public Policy.
Giselle Hernandez, School of Government and Public Policy.
Nolan Fleming, School of Government and Public Policy.
Jesus Jimenez, School of Geography, Development, and Environment.
Tatiana Calderon Speakman, School of Government and Public Policy.
Priscilla Erives,
Victoria Matheson, College of Social and Behavioral Sciences.
Gabriel Greno, Journalism.
Gabriela de la Cruz, School of Geography, Development, and Environment.
Selena Cravajo, School of Government and Public Policy.
Kayla Hotman, School of Government and Public Policy.
Brianna Johnson, Sociology.
Jenna Uran, Communication.
Sophie Rodriguez Beaugrand, School of Government and Public Policy.
Claire Morgan, School of Government and Public Policy.
Aziza Jackson, School of Government and Public Policy.
Aubrey Tadlock, School of Government and Public Policy.
Ashley Genovese, School of Government and Public Policy.
Jessica Abranita Luna, School of Geography, Development, and the Environment.
Zoe Vince, School of Information.
Christopher Marsiglia, School of Government and Public Policy.
Nick Bialik, Communication.
Unmal Ungorwal, School of Government and Public Policy.
Sarah Haynes, School of Government and Public Policy.
Paige Bowen, School of Government and Public Policy.
Jacqueline Luvano, Sociology.
Jeff Hawley, Philosophy.
Nathaniel Patanjo, Philosophy.
Trevor McNamara, Political Economy and Moral Science.
Sean Lucas, History.
Christopher Cavolo, School of Government and Public Policy.
Isabella McDonald, Communication.
Sina Snow, School of Government and Public Policy.
Emma Peterson, School of Anthropology.
Jessica Verdugo Lopez, School of Government and Public Policy.
Aidan Moncrief, School of Government and Public Policy.
Ali Kramer, School of Government and Public Policy.
Vanqua Gwyn, School of Government and Public Policy.
Nathan McComb, Journalism.
Maricruz Gonzalez Mendez, School of Government and Public Policy.
Alexis Ann Friel, Communication.
Delaney Rodriguez, Sociology.
Chloe Hislop, Journalism.
Rebecca Soto, School of Geography, Development, and Environment.
Morgan Kane, School of Government and Public Policy.
Ismael Adrian Patino, School of Government and Public Policy.
Nicholas Stout, School of Journalism.
Raymond Tran, Sociology.
Sebastian Encinas, School of Government and Public Policy.
Alyssa Valenzuela, Sociology.
Diego Valenzuela, School of Government and Public Policy.
Jillian Barch, Journalism.
Nicholas William Mussman, School of Government and Public Policy.
Michaela Amen, English.
Alana Zuzbasnik, English.
Frank Perez, Sociology.
Kyle Masich, School of Government and Public Policy.
Hadley Jones, Sociology.
Yurian Bustamante Escobar, Sociology.
Yasmin Acosta, Journalism.
Elizabeth Shobowali, School of Government and Public Policy.
Zongyi Zhang, Communication.
Wendy Waltrip, English.
Charles Simon Waldstein, School of Information.
Anthony Tricas, Jr., Communication.
Julia Chung, Communication.
Carlene Berg.
Alyssa La Rosa, Communication.
Jennifer Zaper, School of Government and Public Policy.
Grace Forshee, School of Government and Public Policy.
Ali Casey, Philosophy.
Lindsay Teal McWhirter, Communication.
Joining us virtually is Quinn Hale Harrison from English.
Wow. Graduates, don't forget that you are part of the history of this great institution. And as you leave this Centennial Hall and head out into the world, it's with more than the honor of graduation. It's also with an obligation and responsibility to your future Wildcats. We're counting on you as our newest alumni to be model representatives of the University of Arizona while you keep this institution close to your heart. Congratulations to all the graduates. And now I ask that you just stay seated for a few more minutes as the procession exits the stage. Thank you very much.